Hello and welcome to another episode of Chamber of Iris. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to build this fancy fountain that you see behind me. And here we are in the sky of my private world. This is where I build everything in preparation for the episodes. You can see over there, just looming in the distance, the skeleton of that last build that we did. We're going to build this up in the sky just because I can fly underneath and show you things then. I had a plan at one point to leave this hollow and build like a secret base entrance into the side of it, so if you're at one with the redstone, you can do that if you'd like, but this is purely just going to be building the structure. So to start with, we're going to take this central block, clear everything from 17 to 20 block radius around it, flatten everything out, get it all ready, place the center block, go out 15, so we're going to end up with a 31 circle. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Then for the circle, we're going to take this end block, we're going to go out 3, so you've got a 4 on that side, so it's 3 out, bring it in, and that one is going to be 3 as well, and then we're going to bring it in, go 2, bring it in, 1, 1, 1, 1, so that's 4 single ones in a diagonal. I'm going to switch direction, I'm going to go out 2, 3, and then another 3, and then that fourth one should be lining up with our center point again. And now that you've completed 1/4 of the circle, we're going to take our center point and we're going to bring it up 15. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 right on the top there. And we're going to take this circle and do it again, but this time curving outwards like that, just so we've got a nice sort of bowl shape to keep the water in. It gives us more room to play with on the horizontal. So we're going to break it down 2, 3, 4. They're going to stay as they are, and then the fifth one down is going to get 1 brought out like this. You have to build both sides out at the same time. So this comes down 3, and then it comes out in each direction, and they both go down 2. Then it comes out 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it comes down again 2, and then 1, 2, 3, and you should have 4 left on the end. We'll repeat that on the other side. Right, so that is all the complicated part of this structure finished. This is all the circles you need. Past this point, it's just taking the edges of each of these sections, working out the circle and bringing it round. So for this next tier up, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, bring it in 2, bring it in again, another 2. Then 1 on its own, this is the center point, so we're going to switch direction, bring that back 2, 2 again, and 3, and it lines up lovely. Of course, for any of these circles, you can use the circle generator, which I've got linked in the description. We used it before for that previous build. It's a great help. If you can work out the diameters of the circles you need, plug it in, it gives you the circle straight off. So then for the next one, we're going to bring it in 3 the same, bring it back 2, 1, coming from the other side, 2, 3, 2. There you go. Next up, we've got this one. You bring it in 2 this time. Bring that out 2. Bring this side out 2 in 2. So it's 2, 2, 2, 2. Lots of 2s. Next, we've got the one above is a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1. So we're just losing that more rounded side and turning it more into an octagon sort of shape here. Next up, we're going to lose this 2. We're going to turn into a 1 on this side. 1 out, 1 out, and 1 out. Then above that, we've got 1, 1, and 1 on its own. We're just diagonalling it off at this point, so we bring them out and bring that in like that. You'll notice that I haven't kept the same circle for these two. It just works a little better when you're dealing with the water cascading down it later. So there you have it. That's 1/4. That's the outer parts done. We need to go on the inside. Anywhere that there is a gap from above, you go into the layer below and you bring it in to fill up that gap. And with that completed, you should have something that looks like this. And on the inside, you've got something that looks like this. There's enough space in here, I think, to add some sort of hallway or entrance area to go down into an underground base or something. But again, that's up to you. We're going to complete this 3 more times. I keep saying that 4 more times. Going to complete it 3 more times to finish this circle off. And I'll be back to show you how we're going to lay out where the water goes. And there we have a finished fountain base. So what's left now is to think about where the water's going to go. Now, this is something that is very, very key to this. I mean, the clue's in the name, it's a water fountain, but you want to plan this out beforehand. Don't just go rushing into it thinking that it's going to work right. Now, I like to plan out where the water's going to go with using dirt, and place wool in where I need to redirect the water, just so I know that it's going to work like that. And it's very obvious on this structure that the water is going to come out the top. But if you're building any other sort of design, like a statue, you want to think about very carefully where the water is going to come out of and how it's going to make the best use of the geometry that you've made. So for this, it's very simple. We are just bringing the water straight out the top, and then we want it to go in 2 directions. Not all 4, so we need to place blocks to stop it from going in those directions. And then it's going to fall. It's going to hit these pillars. It's very important to keep your streams of water all being built at the same time so that you don't get any unintentional crossover. There we go. And then these are going to fall down until they hit something. This first bit's very simple. It's just dividing that one stream of water up into 4. And then past this point, I want to start spiraling it out towards the edge. So we need to think what direction we want to go. I'm going to say clockwise for this. So we need to place a block there, block there, there, and a block there. This will force the water out in a clockwise directions. It's going to go across and down, one on each. And then once we've got it coming down here, it needs to come down one more because we can't turn it just yet. So we need to place another block here. It's going to make it come down again. And then this block, this is where we can start turning it. So I'm going to bring the water across here. If I do that on all of them, and I'm not going to place the blocks in to stop it flowing off the edge just yet because I want to do something with this particular part. We're going to bring it down on the next one and then bring it round this corner. And you'll notice this part lines up, and instead of placing a block here to block it off, I'm going to have some dynamics in my fountain, have it split and merge the streams just here. But this is a conscious decision to do this. And I simply came up with that through some just experimentation, basically. Taking these supporting blocks out, seeing what looked good, and we can work out from there where all of these supporting pieces need to go. And so now that we've placed our blocks all the way around to stop the flow, we're going to continue the flow on, continuing each of these 4 streams out of this hole just here and bringing it round the front like so. We then need some kind of block to stop this from flowing over the front. Now you can see here that I haven't blocked off this back section here, and that's because if I bring the water around here, I can have it flow sideways again and join in and cross the streams yet again. And I know I said at the beginning try not to cross the streams, but this is from an end perspective coming back and having already looked at the finished structure. It looks pretty good when you have this. So we'll join them up just there, and we'll leave a hole here for the water to continue flowing. We'll do that on the other 4 sides as well. And with that completed, we can bring the water down on this side, bring it all the way along the front, as far as it'll go, keep it going around here, and then just there, we're going to stop just there. We'll do the same on the other sides. With that complete, we can bring it onto the second to last section. Now we face a problem on this area of what do we do about this triple wide section, because if we bring the water along the back, when we step down we're going to have an empty gap here because our blocking volumes are going to be here. If we make it too wide, then what direction is the water going to flow in? We just don't know. To solve this, I placed 5 blocks along there, artificially bringing that circle on the inside out a little bit, and it also gives a nice place to place some like structural supports you'll see later on. And then just before we drop down to the final layer, we're going to curve it around one more, making as much use of this space as we can. And then very simply to finish it off, we're going to bring it along, curving it around, keeping close to the edge, and then water travels 7 blocks before it stops from a source block. So this is the source block, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that will actually leave us with a nice height at the end. So if we place a block there, we'll end our spiral off. And now we have our plan. We can place a few more of these blocks in just to give the idea that they aren't just floating. But really, that's just a guide, because we're going to break these in a second to put in some actual blocks. And I'll show you how I make sure that the water actually flows along this path and keep it looking nice at the same time. Now, because we are in the Chamber of Iris mod pack, we have access to a few things that you won't have in vanilla Minecraft. You can simply replace these wooden posts and these lattices with fence posts. They work just the same, and if you're in 1.10 upwards, you've got some spruce fence posts, which in my opinion look a lot better. These lanterns, you'll have to come up with some thing of your own design, glowstone perhaps with some trapdoors on the sides, but for this I'm going to use lanterns. And of course we've got access to liquid Ethereum, which is a slightly lighter water. If you wanted to have that effect, you can always change your texture pack, or of course you can go with Optifine and get some nice shaders, but standard water looks fine traveling down this. Of course, because there's no wood on it, you can also make the full thing out of lava if you'd like to as well. I've just gone and grabbed myself some stone brick slabs and some stone brick stairs. As you could tell, most of the detailing on this structure is made using these blocks. It keeps it in the same color scheme and pattern as the rest of the build, and also doesn't stand out too much. You don't want it to stand out. It's just basically frilling up the edges is what you want to do at this point. You can add some nice things like torches and lattice and stuff later, and that really brings out certain features. But for now, we just want to really refine the shape some more. So for this section, I'm just going to put some stairs like that, and you'll see how they work when the water's showing through them. They'll look a bit like fingers coming out and holding it and splitting the stream. On top, these are full blocks so that we can place some things on top and get some nice scales going, or you can place a statue on top, or really anything that you want to. And then as we bring it further down, I like to follow this pattern of upside down stair slabs. And then when you get to the end, you place one like this and one sideways. So you end up with this pattern of, if it's not the end of a row, it's an upside down stair. If it is the end of the row, it nice and steps down just like this, and then you can place some more in here, upside down, and steps like that. And you'll see the full effect when we come to putting the water down the structure. Right, bring it down to the next part. I've left a gap underneath these so that I can place the upside down slabs along here, and then that lets me place some half brick slabs along the top. It's very important with these sections because the further up sections, they don't block off the water at any point, but further down, if you were to place a full block in the way, then you'd actually be obscuring the water that you want to see from the floor. So I placed the half slabs here. They do the same job. They hold the water back. They look a little bit funky because you end up with this weird sort of hard edge of water here, but that's Minecraft physics for you. I mean, there's not really much we're going to do about that. So we're going to continue this along a little bit further, and then we'll step it down here. And then for a bit of foreshadowing, we know that later we're going to place a lantern above this section here, so we're just going to place that in there. It's going to be above this water here, so it's not going to interfere with the stream at all. And it's going to provide a place just to make it look a little bit more plausible that they just hang a lantern there. It also, without it, that's kind of an ugly corner, so with it, sort of makes the shape a little bit more square in places and circular in others. It works. It looks good. That's all we really care about. And with that section done, we're going to do the same pattern again on the one below. This time it's a little bit longer, so we're going to bring that across. And then underneath this one, we're going to place an upright one and an upturned one there. Upturned there, and the same pattern again. And this one, I like to keep the upturned, not that you can see it very easily. If I break these, you'll be able to see it better. I like to keep these upturned ones in the direction of the water flow when it's on corners like this, just so that you can more easily tell when you're placing the water what way it should be running. And with that section complete, we're getting into some more interesting parts down here. These are simple half slabs all along here. But then with this section, whoops, there we go. With this section, just here, do our upturned half slab, that there, upturned half slab again, half slab, upturned stairs even, and then on these sections we're going to fill this with stone bricks because this is going to act like a platform for some supports that we're going to put in later. Okay, coming closer to the end now, we're just simply placing these half slabs in everywhere that we want to stop the water from joining with the stream below, and when you come across a section like this in the direction the water's going, and a half slab on top. With that section just here, we place an upturned one facing sideways because we can place some normal stairs facing this way, which will lead into these half slabs going along the very final layer, just along here. We can then fill in the other three sides, and I'll come back when we finish that off. And there we have it. That's all the stone bricks placed. We've got the water planned out. We can now go around actually placing it in and making sure that it's all actually level. Now for this last section, we start from the bottom and work our way back up. There are some places in this build where the water won't flow naturally. This is not one source block as a fountain. So if you're looking for one of those designs, I go a lot more vertical and a lot less horizontal. But as it is, we need to place some more source blocks than just one. So we're going to place our last one first, if that makes sense. We're going to place it just here. And that's going to flow out nicely to the end there. We're then going to place a source block in every single place along here. And then not the first one, but the second one of the tier above. And that means that when it comes round the corner, you get the flow as it comes round. Even though these sections look like they are standing still, you still have some movement on the edge. And with everything together, the whole effect is not ruined by all this standing water, so don't worry about that. And so again, one back from the edge, we place it, and then it will flow across, and it doesn't get too big as it comes across then. On these sections where we have two streams joining, we're going to break the one where we're coming from. We're only following one of the streams up at the moment. I'm going to break that one. That's not going to have a source block. This one is. So that one's going to come across and down. We're going to leave this for now. We'll break them at the end. Now, although this piece is going to be broken, and normally our rule is to go one back from the edge when placing a source block, if we don't do that here, then we get some funky stuff happening with the water just here, and it looks like it's not flowing properly. So we do need to place a source block next to this one, which is going to stop the streams from crossing. It's when you get to this point here that you don't need to place any more, because from this point upwards it should all work properly. So we can test it. If we break all the path all the way back up to the top and we place, oh, not that, put that one back in, and we place our liquid Ethereum at the top, we can see it flows out, and our temporary blockers just stop it and force it to go this way. Comes towards us and towards us again, and it works brilliantly. Okay, we're going to fill in the others, and I'll come back when we're about to break these stoppers in the middle. And here we have it. That's all of the Ethereum placed, or water in your case, placed and running. We just need to break these to let the streams actually cross now. You'll notice even though the water is weirdly flowing upwards, the texture still goes in the correct direction. And if you were to break these on the way through with this stream and then have this stream come in afterwards, it wouldn't do that. So it's important to keep these blocks as they are right there, and when you've finished placing all the water, break them and it will connect up properly. Okay, so you may also notice that down here there's a little bit of an issue when it comes to these pieces wanting to connect because they're on a diagonal, but they can't, so it has this weird pull-up effect. There's no way I've found to get rid of this, so you can make it look a little bit less weird by adding that piece in there. So if we do that on all four corners, it doesn't look so weird when you're just looking at it from a distance. So the problem is still there, but we've just diverted people's attention away from it. On to the more interesting parts of decorating. In this mod pack, there is something called a carpenter's barrier. We can use them to make these tall fat structures like this, and then change it back to normal on top. Is it like that? I can't quite remember what it's like. Yeah, I think it's something like this. So we've got these nice fat pillars holding up these what are going to become scales, and this thin balancing piece, and then we end up with these nice sort of scales on top. Of course, in your design you can always put like a statue on there. These can be the positions where the 2 feet stand. On this row here, I'm going to place some lattice going all the way across. It's going to come out, and it's going to come out one more, and then it's going to join up with this one, so it's going to be 2 up there. I'm going to join it. So we're going to end up making a square all the way around, which when it's completed should look something like this. We can then use these corner pieces to hang a lantern on and place a torch inside. And adding details like this to a fountain can really sort of distract from where the water isn't quite flowing properly, or where it's doing things that don't look right in the physical world but are correct for what you need from the fountain. At the moment it looks quite bare, and we can change that if we take this section that we made earlier and place these, what are they called, wooden posts on it. Now these are made to be basically electrical pylons for the immersive engineering, but if we add the side pylons onto them by right clicking with an engineer's hammer, they can work really nicely as some struts. So we're going to take that, we're going to get some stairs as well, place stairs going in these directions, 1 half slab in the middle, stairs on each side like that, stairs on the underside facing up like this, and then a half slab on top. We're then going to bring this back to meet this section just here. So we're going to meet it just here. Let's bring that out by 2 there. That's going to join up with this section. That's going to join up with this section. And then build that along there and fill in the gaps with some more stairs. And there you have it. All that's left is to colour these last carpenter's blocks up here. I'm adding a stone texture to these side pillars just to make them look a little less flimsy. And then we're going to keep this as a wood texture, but we're going to make it a little darker so that it contrasts with the colour of the water. And that is it. We have one finished fountain. You can go on to add things like park benches across the front and I think in the server we got some tiki torches lighting it up just to keep the theme of the village, but that's pretty much it. The main points that you've got to take away from this is that before you build a fountain, think about the structure, build that first. The underlying structure, that is. Then think about where your water comes from and mark it out with dirt before you actually commit to putting any water down. Because if you screw up placing water, you can get into situations where it just floods your village, takes out all your crops, like takes out redstone if you've got redstone in the area. So it's very important to get that right first time. You can mask it out with dirt and then go around and make sure that that dirt is properly sealed in. Place the water in and then decorate. So if you've liked this episode of Not Quite Chamber of Iris again, then leave a like down below, share it with all your friends if you want to show them how to build stuff like this, or build it yourself. Send me the links to your pictures on Twitter or any variations you've made. I'd love to see some redstone contraptions integrated into this. But until next time, hit that notification button if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video.